Subscribe to my channel.
Hello, dear students. Welcome to my channel Spectrum. If you are new here, please like, subscribe, and then comment. Okay, so in this video, we are going to cover the full chapter on this metals and non-metals for cbse class 10. So please watch the video till the end. So let's start the topic. So our today's topic is metals and non-metals. So you know that there are exactly 180 elements present right now. On the basis of their properties, all the elements can be divided into two main groups, that is, metals and non-metals. Let us discuss one by one. Metals like silver, like gold, like iron nails, like coppers. So these are the example of metals. Now let's look at the example of the non-metals. Sulfur, carbon, chlorine gas. So these are the metals and non-metals. Both metals as well as non-metals are used in our daily life. So physical properties of metals. Number one is metals are malleable. What is the meaning of malleable? Malleable means if the metals can be beaten into thin sheet by beating them or by hammering them. So this property of metal is known as the malleable. So in the picture also you can see we are beating a metal with a hammer and the metal is turned into very thin sheet, and this property of metal is known as malleable. Next, metals are ductile. What is the meaning of ductile? Ductile means if you can draw the wire into a thin long wires, then we call it as a ductile. So all the metals are ductile, and gold is the most ductile metal present till now. So metals can be drawn or stretched into thin wires, and this property of metal is known as ductile. Gold is the most ductile metal. About 1 gram of gold can be drawn into thin wire of about 2 kilometer. So just imagine if you bring 1 gram of gold, you can make a 2 kilometer long wire with the 1 gram metal. Isn't it interesting? Yes. Now the next property of metals will be like this. Now we have both a spirit lamp and then a burner. We have bought here a burner, and then we have bought a aluminum rod. Now let us light up that burner. Now what happens if you continuously hit that aluminum rod, that is a metal rod? Now you can see slowly it is getting heated up. What do you call this property? So this property of metal is known as the conductor. So all the metals are good conductor of heat. Silver is the best conductor of heat, followed by copper. But there are some metals like lead and mercury which are poor conductor of heat. You can see the cooking utensils and water boiler are usually made up of copper or aluminium. Metals are good conductor of electricity. Like you can see in the picture, we have bought a battery, we have bought a bulb, let us say a bulb BB, and then we have bought a wire. and we have connected them, but in between that we have used a paper. In this case, you can see the bulb does not glow. Let us consider another case in which we have bought, instead of that, the same thing. We have bought the same setup we have bought here, but instead of paper we have used an aluminum foil. At this time you can see clearly in the picture the bulb glows. But why? Paper is a non-metal where aluminum is a metal. That is why the bulb glows. Because you know that to flow the current, it needs a complete circuit or the closed circuit. But here, in the first case, my circuit is incomplete. It is breakdown here because at this particular point, this paper cannot conduct the electricity, so it becomes an open. But here, in the second case, aluminum foil makes the complete or the closed circuit. That is why the bulb glows. Silver is the best conductor of electricity, followed by copper. Electric wires are made up of copper and aluminum. Next property of the metal is lustrous. What is the meaning of lustrous? You can see the metals are, these metals like especially the golds are very very shiny, and this nature of the metal is called as lustrous. So metals are lustrous, especially this gold is very very lustrous, and this can be polished also. Next, metals are generally hard except sodium and potassium. Sodium and potassium are very very soft metal. They are the metals. Most of the metals are very hard except these two, like sodium and potassium, because you can cut sodium and potassium with a knife also. That means you can just imagine how soft they are. Next is the metal are hard. You know that all the bricks are made up of metals. So from here only we can imagine how hard is the metal. Next thing is metals are solid at room temperature except mercury, which is a liquid at room temperature. So all the metals are hard, sorry, it's solid at room temperature except the mercury. So there might be questions. Name the metal which is liquid at room temperature. So we can say it is a mercury. And metals have high melting and they have boiling point also. That means it requires lots of heat to boil a metal and then to melt it also. So that is why metals have high melting and high boiling point, except the two metals like sodium and potassium. Like you can just imagine metals like sodium and potassium are very soft. They have low melting and boiling point also. Metals have high density, but these two metals, same metals, that is sodium and potassium, have very low density. And you can see here you have, maybe you have played the guitar, and that string of the guitar is made of metals, and it produces sound. What happens instead of that wire, if you use only thread, simple thread, what happens? Will it produce the same sound as the metal? The answer will be no, because the non-metal, they cannot produce the sound as much as the metals can do. So that means this property of metal, due to which it produces the sound, is known as the sonorous. So metals are sonorous. Like you can see the bell, you can see the guitar, so they produce a very nice sound. So metals are sonorous. Sonorous means ability to produce the sound.